Nobody ever warned you about this. They told you that what you went through, the stress, the chaos, the emotional weight you carried, left marks. And they were right. But here's what nobody told you. Those same experiences quietly rewired your brain in ways most people will never have. Not in a motivational poster way. In a real, measurable, neurological way. Psychologists call this traumatic intelligence, and today we're going through 10 signs you have it. Stay with me, because sign number 6 is the one most people never hear explained, and it might explain your entire life. Research in developmental psychology shows that people who grow up in unpredictable environments develop a heightened sensitivity to emotional patterns, social cues, and nonverbal communication. Their brains, especially the amygdala and prefrontal cortex, were trained early, not because they wanted to, because they needed to. And over time, that adaptation becomes something extraordinary. Let's talk about the signs. Sign 1. You read rooms before anyone says a word. You walk into a space and something shifts inside you, a quiet alertness. Before anyone speaks, you already feel the tension, the forced smile, the slightly different tone, the energy nobody else seems to catch. Most people miss these things completely. You don't. Psychologists call this hypervigilant pattern recognition. Your nervous system learned early that noticing subtle changes could protect you emotionally. So now, without even trying, you read people almost automatically. You're not just reading the room. You're reading the room behind the room. Before we move to sign 2, I'm curious. Where did you first learn to read people so carefully? Home? School? Somewhere else? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one. Sign 2. You feel what others feel before they do. Have you ever known someone was struggling before they admitted it themselves? Or felt a conversation turning heavy before anything was actually said? That's not overthinking. That's hyper-empathy. People who grew up in emotionally unpredictable environments became deeply attuned to the moods of others because their nervous system depended on it. You learn to track emotional shifts constantly. Tiny pauses, tone changes, the weight behind a text message. It can feel like carrying everyone else's emotional weather inside your own chest, but it also means people feel unusually safe around you. Seen, understood, and that is rare. Sign 3. You go calm when everything falls apart. This one surprises people. When pressure spikes, when everything is falling apart, when everyone around you is spiraling, something inside you goes very quiet. Focused, strategic, clear. Researchers call this stress inoculation. When high-stress environments become familiar early in life, the nervous system adapts differently. While others experience chaos as overwhelming, your brain interprets it as something to organize and solve. You don't freeze. You adapt. You assess. You think ahead, and you quietly become the most stable person in the room. Think about the last crisis you handled calmly while everyone else was overwhelmed. That wasn't luck. That was this. Type 3 in the comments if this one hit different. Sign 4. You analyze human behavior, almost compulsively. You replay conversations in your head. You search for meaning behind reactions. You notice contradictions between what people say and how they actually feel. And you've always done this, not because you're dramatic, but because your mind genuinely wants to understand people deeply. You became a student of human nature because understanding people once felt essential to your survival. The result is that you can often predict how someone will react before they act. You sense emotional dynamics early. Most people stay on the surface of human behavior. You naturally look several layers underneath it. Sign 5. You became quietly, fiercely self-reliant. You don't wait to be rescued. When something goes wrong, you figure it out, quietly, efficiently, without making it anyone else's problem. Self-reliance like this develops when emotional support felt inconsistent early in life. Dependence started to feel risky. So your brain adapted by making competence its default setting. You became the reliable one, the one who handles things. And while that strength is completely real, sometimes the hardest thing for you isn't surviving alone. It's trusting someone enough to actually let them help. If sign 5 felt like it was written specifically about you, type 5 in the comments right now. I want to see how many of us are carrying this quietly. Sign 6. You experience life at a frequency most people can't access. This is the sign I mentioned at the beginning. Music doesn't just sound good to you, it hits you physically, like it reaches somewhere words can't. A stranger's small act of kindness can genuinely move you. Injustice doesn't just bother you intellectually, you feel it in your body. Beauty, loss, connection. You don't just observe these things. You feel them at a depth most people simply don't have access to. Neuroscientifically, repeated emotional activation makes the amygdala highly sensitized over time, which means your emotional processing becomes unusually responsive. Yes, it can be exhausting, but it also means you are more emotionally alive to this life than most people will ever be. Sign 7. You notice what everyone else misses. The tiny shift in someone's voice, the tension hiding behind a joke, the moment a room's energy changes and nobody acknowledges it. You notice details most people overlook automatically. This isn't perfectionism, it's trained awareness. At some point in your life, noticing everything mattered, so your brain became incredibly precise. And now that precision shows up in your intuition, your relationships, your work, and in the way you understand situations before others even realize something is happening. Sign 8. Your trust is rare, but once given, it's unbreakable. You don't trust easily, not because you're cold or cynical. Your brain simply learned early that not every signal of safety was genuine. Psychologists call this adaptive skepticism. Your nervous system built filters. And while those filters can sometimes feel isolating, they mean something important. The people who do earn your trust receive something incredibly real. Your loyalty is deep. Your connections are meaningful. And once someone truly earns your trust, you don't love halfway. People feel that difference, and they never forget it. If this video is making sense of something you've never quite been able to explain about yourself, share it with one person who needs to hear this today. Sign 9. You have a different relationship with silence. You're comfortable sitting in silence in a way most people aren't, not because you have nothing to say, but because you've learned to listen beneath words. You notice what's not being said. You can hold space for someone else's pain without immediately rushing to fix it. Psychologists call this distress tolerance, the ability to sit with emotional discomfort without escaping it. And strangely enough, it is one of the rarest emotional skills a human being can have. Therapists spend years in training to develop what life already gave you. Sign 10. Despite everything, you haven't given up on people. After the disappointment, after the emotional pain, after learning exactly how complicated people can be, you are still here, still open, still capable of genuine kindness, still choosing to believe that real connection exists. That is not weakness. Researchers call this post-traumatic growth. Not just surviving difficult experiences, but being genuinely expanded by them. You didn't just survive your story. Your story shaped you into someone with a level of emotional depth, awareness, and resilience that most people spend their entire lives trying to build. So here is what I want you to take from this. The sensitivity people called too much was precision. The overthinking was pattern recognition. The emotional depth that sometimes felt like a burden was awareness sharpened by everything you survived. You are not broken. You are adapted, shaped by everything you went through into someone with a mind and a heart that this world genuinely needs more of. Before you go, 3 things. 1. Tell me in the comments which sign felt most like you. 2. If this video helped you understand yourself a little better today, share it with someone who needs to hear this. And 3. Watch this next, because what we just covered is only the beginning.